Everything is up, dude. Recruiting numbers is up. Issue paid is up. Leads are up.
That's right,
dude. We up. This is good. This is good. Everything is up, dude.
Ooh,
I appreciate you guys, man. One thing I'll say about recruiting, and I know Frank, me and you talked about this last week, was we really have to get into like why should folks work with you? So if I see our teamists on here, if you're looking to build a team, I believe a lot of folks, there's enough info out there for people to know how great Family First Life is. Okay, everybody knows how great Family First Life is. Okay, if you're on the campaigns that we run, they all know how good we are. They've seen the overview. That's why they're on your calendar. They're not looking, and this is a mistake that I was making. I was just reiterating the overview. I was reselling the company and wondering why they weren't getting contracted and working with me. And then I started looking, and then Zach Tardowski was like, dude, they work with, like, we know how I interview. I tell people that I have the highest issue paid agent at the company, that I was one of the youngest people to ever hit Hall of Fame, that I was the youngest integrity partner ever. I go, damn, maybe I should do some of that. He goes, it ain't like you can't. You can't tell people that you trained 80% of the company on how to book appointments. You can't tell people that you've been running here for 12 years and made millions and millions of dollars. You can't tell people that. The list goes on. And every one of you has the strength to tell people why they should work with you. If I'm Corinne Giles, it ain't about Family First Life. It's about, hey, yo, I'm a beast on the phone, and I done this thing in the home with a child, and then I really had to figure it out to do telesales, and then I'm one of the best at covering objections and following scripts, and I'm one of the biggest team players you ever meet in your life. So if you're on my team, I got your back. If you're not on my team, I feel sorry for you. But this is the type of team that if that's the type of person you want to work with, then tell me why you're worth my time.
Yeah, that's right.
Not why, you know what I mean? So the interviews have changed. The posture has changed. Yeah.
And for the folks that are new, that are recruiting, that go, well, I can't say any of that stuff. You're right. You go, well, listen, the guy that's mentoring me, Dom, dude, he trained 80% of the company on how to set appointments. He's an integrity partner. He's helped millions of people, or thousands of people, actually probably indirectly helped millions of people. Dude, he's a beast. He was like, that's how you do it if you're not there yet. Correct. Edification.
100%, dude. When I started, all I did was talk about how dope Sean was.
That's right.
That's it. Like, yo, Dom, what are you doing, dude? I just started, bro. But the guy who hired me, bruh, he's a maniac, dude. He makes like 10 grand a week. He sells, dude. He's teaching me everything. If you don't look for me for the answers, bro, but that's who I'm following. People follow people who follow people, and they also follow people who have helped a ton of people and help people. So go into your recruiting with the heads of sell yourself, and if you have nothing to sell yourself on, sell who hired you, because they're doing something good.
That's right. Dude, I love that, Dom. That is we've gotten too much to the point of trying to sell what we do, and I think we hire lower quality people with no sense of urgency. And when you present it the way you present it, they have something to lose, as they should, because your time is valuable and you're worth a lot. And what you have between your 2 ears, the 6 inches between your 2 ears, is priceless, without a shadow of a doubt.
Frank, do you remember when I came back in 19, you and we didn't talk, but I went to Sean and I wanted to build. So Dom, I went to Sean. I said, Sean, can you put me underneath Matt Walker? I said, I'm trying to grow something and I need someone to point to. I need someone that I can, when people are coming in, I can say, look at that guy. That's who we're going to work with. And I did it on purpose because I needed someone that I could point to and show what they were doing. And it worked. Everyone I brought, I said, my upline is this guy who's a Hall of Fame producer. He can show us how to get there, but I needed someone to point to. So it doesn't have to be you. You can point to someone else. And we have so many you can talk about how amazing this entire group is, how our team is rolling, how you work with Dom, you work with Frank, you got Kali here, you got Corinne. There's so many leaders, and this team that you're part of, it will pull people in even if you're not doing it. So if you don't have something to sell, there's so many other people in here that you can sell. So I agree with you, Dom.
Damn right. That was great.
Let's here. Annuity leaderboard, Georgina sold a $13,000 annuity. Daryl Clark, 18. Austin Smith sold 30. Jessica sold a 40,000. Charlene sold a 50,000. Depot, $100,000 annuity. Tiffany sold 115,000. She's the one in Hawaii.
Yeah, this is month to date, by the way.
Yeah, Dean Pavick, 147. Jesse Stam for the month sold $789,000 in annuities. Great job, Jesse. Announcements, of course, every day we do our live dials, 7:30 until at least 10 o'clock. And the log or the URL is zoom.successlounge.space. If you're brand new, you cannot dial by yourself. You must dial with a team. That's someplace that you want to be. And then every morning there is a morning mojo at morningmojo.fflfury.com. That's 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. And you can jump on there. Kylie and Corinne, they have some great words of inspiration and some, it's definitely something you want to jump on and be part of. Weekly calls. Who was on today's Builders Call is absolutely phenomenal.
Albert Lau.
Yeah, Albert Lau was incredible today. If you were not on there, you really missed out. It's something that you want to be on every Monday at 12. Every 6 o'clock, of course, we do our agency call, zoom.ffl.com. Every Thursday, the SRS call. If you were not on that, Frank has a different top producer in the company going over how to sell annuities. And you don't have to do anything special to sell annuities. You could be brand new here. And the call each week is designed to be able to show the newest agent how to go out there and have success selling annuities. So if it's something that you're not part of, you definitely want to make sure that you jump on that every Thursday at 12 o'clock. I think last week, Frank, I saw the message you put out to Sean. You said we had more people than anyone in the entire company on that call. And we want to be the best at promoting what's going on in the company, not only because it's the right thing to do, but I think the training that goes on in this company is probably the best in the entire industry. And if you're not taking advantage of what's happening each and every week, you're missing out, and the people you're bringing on are truly missing out on what's taking place in the company. Just like every Friday, I remember, Frank, back in the day, the TNL, Dom, remember how many people used to be on that thing? There'd be 200-300 people on that back in the day.
Oh yeah, that was, and if you were asked to speak on that call, it was a huge deal, and it still to me is a huge deal. I just don't think people prioritize that, and you know, you guys might look at this and go, it's a lot of calls every week, but it's not really. I mean, the builders call is a half hour. This calls an hour. The SRS calls a half hour. So that's 2 hours. The TNL is another hour. That's 3 hours. And then this new agent orientation, once you're rolling, you don't need to get on that. That's for brand new agents. So you're looking at 3 hours worth of training a week that could potentially add thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in your pocket every single week. And you got to be hungry for information. In order to win in this business, you have to continue to learn and grow. And that's what these calls are designed to do. So I would be on I wouldn't miss a one. That would be the first thing I put in my schedule before I did anything else, would be these calls.
Well, they're on mine. They're on there every week. So, you know, Frank's right. It should be in your schedule. Frank, you want to go over your book of the month?
Yeah, this is the book. We had a little bit of miscommunication last week. That the book that Kali talked about last week is more of a builders group, a builders book. And I'm not saying you can read 2 books at one time. And this, you know, if you get into a book, you can read a book in 2-3 days. So, but this book actually changed my life. Like, it changed my sales life, and it got me to understand really the process and the mindset of selling. And actually it was fun. We were on the manager's call Wednesday, and Kali was mentioning, like, I think we should talk about mindset and selling. This book is psychology of selling. So it is mindset. Talks about the biggest, you know, some of the biggest setbacks for people. I think one of the quotes is, fear and self-doubt have always been, I can't even read this, but I wrote it. I went back and looked some notes. Have always been the greatest enemies of human potential. So that's obviously a mindset thing. If you do what other successful people do over and over again, nothing in the world can stop you from eventually getting the same results that they get. And if you don't, nothing can help you. Like, this is simple stuff, but this book is really good. And if you're struggling, if you're brand new, if you're not struggling, even if you're not struggling, you'll find something in here that will help take your sales to the next level. So I would recommend this. We're going to do this once a month. So in another 4 weeks, give everybody 4 weeks to read a book. We'll throw in another one. But this by far was one of my favorite selling books that I've ever read. I read it multiple times.
Awesome. Give yourself a raise. I hope everyone on here is aware of the comp grid. If you go to fflagenthub.com, all of our information regarding compensation. I got a text today from someone asking about compensation. I mean, everything is inside of FFL Agent Hub. So go there, understand exactly what it takes to get a raise. Obviously, on the left-hand side, you do any of those numbers 2 months in a row, give yourself a raise. Producer bonuses have been raised. I mean, look at this. The minimum, or it used to be 30,000. Minimum you need to do to get a raise now, 20 grand, and you get a $650 bonus. I think it's pretty exciting, the amount of bonus money that's now being paid out by the company. That doesn't include the bonuses that are being paid from Americo, paid from Mutual of Omaha, paid from Prosperity. So there's money that can be made from so many different avenues in this business. You know, you hear people all the time looking for multiple streams of income, and we're literally in an industry where you can create multiple streams of income without having to do 50 million different things. So take advantage of the money that's available. Not only do you help more families, but you're able to put more money in your pocket, which obviously helps your family. The conferences are going on. I still don't think we have enough people registered for the conference. Everyone, again, if you're not near or around Baltimore or don't plan on flying in, find the closest conference. I can tell you this, if you're brand new and you don't make it to this conference, who knows if you're going to be here at the beginning of the year. But then if you don't get to the convention that's going to take place in January, you probably won't make it a year. That's how important these things are. So definitely make plans to register. If you go to fflevents.com, find the city that's closest to you and make sure you register. I think Baltimore, and again, I'm competitive. I'm hoping that we have the largest turnout in the entire company
No doubt.
at this conference. I think we can fill up that church that we plan on having the conference in.
Mike, they are the first conference is Monday in Orlando. Like that's the kickoff is this coming up Monday or next Monday. Mike, myself, Jamie, Holly, there's a handful. I mean, that's just part of this group that'll be in Orlando. And then obviously in Baltimore on Thursday. But if you have anybody close to those areas, Jesse will be in Orlando. Jesse will also be in Baltimore. If you want to hear from somebody that issued over 100 grand last month, Deepa will be in Baltimore as well. Dean, Kendall, Crystal. I mean, we have a Corinne. There's a list of people that are going to be training you guys on what they do, exactly what they do and how they do it. I would definitely get to one of these. And in fact, like here's Mike, this is what I would say. I'm not picky. I'm not picky with who I am. I'm picky with who we recruit, who we bring on. I'm even more picky with who I spend time with because we're busy. So like for me, this is, if you want my time, this is mandatory because I can't teach you everything you're learning this day would take me weeks to teach you. And I don't have that kind of time and neither do you. So if you're newer and you want to work directly with myself, Jamie, I'm sure Dom feels the same way, Mike, Holly, Corinne, all the leaders in this group. If you want to work with them, if you want their time, which I would if I were you, if I had a chance to get coached by Dom on how to set appointments, or Jamie on how to set appointments, or Mike on how to handle objections, or Dean on how to sell annuities, Kendall on how to do telesales, Chris, like I would do anything I could to earn their time. In fact, we did it when, like Dom talked about when he was new and how he just talked about Sean. We drove hours to just get around him so he could teach us. I mean, hours, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours spent in a car to get one place to spend a day with him and then leave and drive back home. So this is massively important. We do need to fill that room on Monday. Or on Thursday in Baltimore, we need to fill it in Orlando too. But if you're close to the Baltimore area, and even if you're trying to recruit somebody to come into the business, bring them to the conference. I promise you they'll get sold on the industry because we will talk about money, and people want to know what's in it for me if I join this company, which they should. It's a business. So if you're looking to recruit people and they're close, bring them. If you have agents in this area, bring them. If they're 2, 3, 4 hours away, tell them to drive. It's not that much to ask. Mike, how far did we used to drive to get to Raleigh, North Carolina 4 times a year?
Yeah, it was what,
That
4 or 5
sucked.
hours.
Like, I hate that drive, but we did it. And we did it probably more like 8 to 12 times a year because there was always something going on down at that office. So this Monday coming up in Orlando, next Thursday coming up, will be in Baltimore. And then the rest of the cities are on there, October 19th. Yeah, Tom. Thank you.
Again, fflconvention.com. This is definitely the one that you have to get to. I think if you don't get to this, it's almost impossible to probably make it the next 12 months. You definitely need to be able to get to conventions. So
Facts.
is Jacob Bruns going to be here at our conference? Is he training with our group?
I mean, I'd love to have him come. I'm not sure if he is or planning on it. I know he's going to be in the LA one, I'd imagine. But Dom and Jacob could probably.
Bruns. Hey, Bruns just moved. Dude, there's a lot going on with Bruns, dude. There's a lot going on, dude. There's a lot going on, and this is really cool. I don't know if this is a good segue, but where are we at?
Let's do it right now.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, thank you guys. Well, first off, let's thank Mike and Frank for like all this info that you guys give that first 20, 30 minutes, man, and the recognition you give is important. Is very important. And I know if you're brand new, you're probably like, what are they even talking about? Or why does that recruit even matter? Or I tell you what, man, when you fight and you start working your butt off, you love to see your name on a leaderboard. You love to hear your name read. You love that stuff. So whether you're there, you clap for them like you hired them, or that it's you. Okay. So I don't want to remiss that because that's a big deal. Congrats to everybody who put up crazy numbers. Jesse, Dean, you guys are crushing it. It's inspiring. And Bruns, I think he was on here probably about 2 months ago at the beginning of this road of Facebook leads, and honestly where he was in his business personally wasn't like the dopest place. So I want to take like 3-4 minutes, Bruns, and I want you to let folks know like where were you at 2 months ago, physically, mentally, and in your business.
2 months ago, I was just got off of July. So around July, issued $3,000 in production for the entire month of July. I was just drained. I was doubting myself, doubting the business, just doubting really everything. And then Dom hit me up, and I was kind of like praying for something to happen because my pride always gets in my way, right? And so Dom, literally a couple days later, he was like, "Yeah, why don't you just come out to California for a couple weeks and we just run it up and see what happens." And so I did that, flew out to California a couple weeks, and ended up leaving there. I had before I went, I had probably cumulatively around $20,000 in debt between all the carriers. Left there with zero debt with Americo. I basically wrote off all my debt, and then after I came back, that's when we started the final expense leads, Facebook final expense leads, and just been running the shit out of those ever since. And I haven't stopped because I knew exactly where I would be if I stopped, and that'd be in the same exact position as I was 2 months ago. So yeah, 2 months later, I got the cruise all off Facebook final expense leads, which of course we'll talk about tonight. But ended up moving out to California, about 5 minutes away from Dom's house. So, get to see the kids. Now I'm his personal babysitter.
We got a built-in babysitter. This is great. Okay.
But yeah, moved out here, and it's been really good, and I've been able to get out of my own way, really. And a lot of thanks is straight to Dom. And if I didn't have a mentor and a friend like Dom, then I wouldn't be in the position I am in right now. So I appreciate you, Dom, for everything you've done for me.
Jacob, let me play this video, show everyone how exciting it is.
So what just happened?
I just got freaking a text message saying I qualified for the cruise. Let's go.
Damn, dude. How's that feel?
Dude, it feels great, dude. Put in a lot of hard work, and I thought I was going to come short. But, dude, it feels amazing. I'm actually shaking right now. Which I shouldn't be. But
Why not?
I'm shaking. I'm freaking out.
Yo, you deserve it, man.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
I'm proud of you, brother. Keep up the hard work.
Thank you.
All right, my man.
Dude, that's fire, Mike.
Dude.
Congrats, man.
Dude, this this business, when you're and Jacob, but I thank you, dude. Just there's a lot to there's a lot to this is a partnership overall. Everybody, we're getting in relationships. That's what we're doing. This is a relationship business. And when somebody's down, you got to pick them up. And when somebody's up, sometimes you're two up, dude. We had to bring you down. Make sense? You know what I mean? It's that median, dude. And so congratulations on what you're doing. Okay. And going from $3,000 in July to qualifying in the cruise in 60 days from negative 20,000 with the carriers. Bro, to some people, that's a mountain that they don't want to climb. Okay. That's a mountain that they'd rather just bow out. But in 60 days, you decided that, hey, I'm going to make a change. All right. So let's first talk about the environment change. Okay. Because you had to go back to your environment. You left your environment. Okay. But then you had to go back. What did you do when you went back? And then we'll get into this Facebook final expense. But I think everybody has stuff that's getting in their way of moving forward. And you can change your environment temporarily, right? But you had to go back and you had to get back to it. So how did you handle that 4, 5, 6 weeks that you were back in the environment that you necessarily did not want to be in?
What do you mean by that, Dom? Just like
when you went back to Oklahoma, you went back to your parents' house, back
Gotcha.
with your stepmom.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Gotcha. Yeah. So I think after leaving California, after those 2 weeks, I just had a mindset that like I just cannot be in the same position I was 2 weeks ago, right? And I just put in my mind like nothing can stop me, right? And yeah, I was at home and I was upstairs in my bedroom, freaking cooped up, and had to deal with an evil stepmother. We won't get into that, but just a lot of things going on, and I just knew that if I went back, right, and I just put my head down, I didn't tell anyone if I had a good day. I didn't tell anyone if I had a bad day, because I knew either way, it was just everyone was still going to doubt me, right? So I just knew that I just had to block myself out from the entire world, really, and just lock into this business, lock into Zoom, lock into live dials, and don't get off until like I'm hitting my goals for the week, hitting my goals for the day. And I just didn't stop. And I knew that whenever I left California, I knew I was coming back. I said, I'm going to set a goal. I'm going to leave here, and had a few hiccups along the way, but I ended up leaving there September 31st. So I knew I wanted to get here before October, and I just set a goal, and I wanted to get out of there, and that's what I did. And I knew I just had to stay locked in, and if I didn't, I couldn't leave. So I knew if I wanted to leave, then I can't get off track. So that's what kept me locked in. And
that's big. That's big stuff, man, because I wanted to share that, because there has to be something that you see. And I think us as leaders, managers, just working with anybody, you got to show people what the destination looks like. Yep. Like what it could look like. So when they go back to whatever it is that's happening, they go, dude, I'm going to go get that. Makes sense? I'm going to still go after that. So that's big stuff, man. So Facebook final expense. All right. I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you hit off on a few things earlier when we spoke. Schedule, some key parts, all right, of the appointment, and honestly, mindset, slowing down expectations. But let's start with that schedule. Okay. What does that look like? And with schedule, how many leads do I need to run the schedule that you're going to share with us?
Cool. Yeah. So first of all, I want to appreciate Mike and Frank for having me and Dom on. It's pretty cool to do this. So I appreciate you guys. But schedule, the whole thing with schedule is with these leads starting out, I spent about $750, so that's 75 leads. And that's weekly, right? So those are just coming in fresh, and I also still have leads from, previous weeks as well. So I'm always running through them. Like I'm gonna get everything out of them, right? So schedule, I just say, just starting at here in California, now I'm 2 hours behind. So a lot of my leads are in Central and East Coast, so I can, start at 6 a.m. and just run it up. But normally I've been starting like 7 a.m. and I got Ringy. I don't know if you guys and anyone else has that, but I just have Ringy. I just plug them things in, and I keep dialing. All I'm doing is just one call closing. I'm not setting appointments or anything like that. Like if they're busy at that time, I'm saying, what time, are you going to be free? Then I'll call them after that time, right? I'm not setting appointments because I've tried that in the past, and they never pick up. They avoid it, something like that. So if they're just unexpected or not expecting when I'm going to call them, then sometimes they'll pick up, right? So pertaining to schedule, I just run from 7 a.m. and just run until 9 p.m. at that time zone. So if it's 9 p.m. at Eastern, then I'll just start working my Central, just so I can get the most out of my days, really.
So you start at 7. What are the biggest distractions? That's a long day. How do you stay locked in?
A lot of Red Bull.
He ain't lying.
A lot of Red Bull. But no, I just know, like, I always have the thought in the back of my mind, like, I can lose this, right? And as much as I've done to get to this position in 2 months, I know it can be gone just as quick as 20 days, 10 days, right? So I always have that in the back of my mind, like, I'm not losing this. I'm not losing my momentum, because once you lose momentum, it's so hard to gain back. So I just know that while I have this confidence, while I have this, I'm producing every single day, I'm writing every single day, I want to keep that momentum going. So I always have in the back of my mind, like, I'm not losing this, and I won't lose this. So that's what keeps me going. I'm just, I'm not going back to Oklahoma. All right.
There you go. A healthy paranoia is a very good thing. Now, I like that schedule, okay? Because that schedule allows you guys, final expense, you can work all day. There's no better time to call final expense leads. Okay. There may be a better time to call IUL, mortgage leads. I get all that. I love the point where you said you're not booking appointments. Okay. And I hope folks hear that. Don't book appointment. They're not going to pick up. Everybody's going to say yes, and 100% of them aren't going to pick up. Just so you know, you're going to feel really good about booking a lot of appointments, and then you're going to get really let down when nobody picks up the phone. Okay. So how do you, Bruns, keep them on the phone for the one call close, even when they quote unquote got things to do? Okay. Because do you quickly just say, I'll call you tomorrow? Or do you try to push to get the one call? How does that work?
So if I get any pushback, you just got to understand, the lead you're calling, right? These are all over the age of 65, 70. And if I hear Family Feud in the background, and I hear Steve Harvey, reading off the freaking answers, and they tell me, call me back later, well, I'm like, hey, listen, I hear Steve Harvey, turn off the TV, put it on pause, whatever you got to do. That's going to take 10 minutes. Grab a pen and paper, right? So it all depends on the situation. But if I hear him driving or something like that, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to, make you get in a wreck. I'll call you later, right? So I make sure to just kind of, you got to pick and choose, but you got to realize who you're calling, right? They're not doing much, right? So if I get any rejection, I'm always pushing. And worst thing that happens is to hang up on me, right? So, let's role play that a little bit, because I think that's a pretty common thing. Okay. And then if we can help anybody on this call turn over and get them one more presentation today or tomorrow, bro, you did your job. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So let's role play that. All right. So you call me up, ring. Hello?
Dom.
Yes, Dom. Who's this?
Hey, Dom, this is Jacob. I'm just getting back to you about that request you'd sent in on Facebook. You'd seen that video of the female talking about the state regulated final expense program to take care of burial or cremation. Remember doing that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. I'm just the underwriter trying to go over what you qualify for. It takes 10 minutes. Could you grab a pen and paper?
Yeah,
for
man.
me?
Could you call me like next week?
Okay, what you got going on?
Man, I'm just kind of busy right now. Next week
How
will probably next week will be better.
Okay, how busy are you? What are you doing? Watching TV?
Nah, man, I just, my phone's been ringing. I got the dog. I take the dogs out later. I wasn't expecting this.
All right, cool. Well, it's gonna take 10 minutes to grab pen and paper.
All right.
There you go.
That's typically what happens, right?
That's exactly what happens.
Right. I was
reiterating.
about to try to like push back at you, but I'm like, they don't do that. Like our clients, I'm telling you what, dude, they give you one little and if you know how to handle that you good.
Yeah.
But if you don't know how to handle that they're gonna smoke you. Like this final expense, if you don't know how to handle that first objection, it's a rough road, dude. Because 99% of these leads are gonna give you an objection, just so you know. Okay. Like you guys have some lay down ones, right? That like you call them up and they're like, yeah, I did that. Yeah. That really doesn't happen too much with final expense leads in general because of how much they're advertised. Okay. And how much stuff they're already seeing. So just know your market. Like Jacob says, know who you're calling. Know that they get phone calls all day long. That's massive, dude. What are some key parts, all right, in setting the structure once you get on the phone? So they have said, hello, how do you lay the structure of what you're going to do, okay, and what they're going to, what they're going to do? What does that look like?
So going back to like, you gotta know who you're calling. Like instead of like it being, 40 mortgage, if it's mortgage protection, like you can, speed things up, sound more professional. But with these older clients, I just have to be, or I'm being a lot more precise, a lot more like I'm being really slow. I'm making sure that they understand what I'm saying, and I make sure that they understand what we're about to do. Right. So like key points would just be, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do today. Like I'm sure life insurance or final expense coverage, it's all about your health, right? So I just ask you some pretty simple questions pertaining to your health, and based on what you tell me, we'll see which carrier out there is most likely going to approve you at the lowest rates. Does that make sense? Yep. All right, great. And then we'll go over a couple different options, and if something makes sense, fits your budget, it's comfortable for you on a month-to-month basis, then what we'll do is we'll just pretty simple submit an application to the carrier, and they basically give us the green light or the red light. And that's pretty much it. And then there's a couple of different things like before, after I show them the prices or after I show them the options. I normally like with these final expense leads also. Do you want me to go into like not replacing? Okay. So with these final expense leads, like a lot of them aren't looking to like replace their current coverage, or they already have coverage. They just need a little extra, right? So a lot of times it's just, hey, like, do you already have coverage or do you have nothing at all? Oh yeah, I have some. How long did you get it? I got it 10 years ago. Okay, great. So we're not going to replace that because your prices are really low. We're just going to add on a little bit, I'm assuming, right? Yeah.
Cool. Hey, I don't want to gloss over that. All right. That's big stuff right there. All right. So but the number one thing I just heard you say is, how long ago did you get that? See, too many people go to like what carrier, how much it is, all that type of stuff. That doesn't matter. All right. You got to because you have a lead from somebody who just filled out a request. I need to know, did they just do this? Oh yeah, I got it 2 days ago. Boom. That's going to dictate my response.
Yeah.
Okay. If they go, oh, I got it 5 years ago, I'm going to say what Jacob said. Do you know what I mean? Like you got to know based on what they're saying. I'm not, some things that folks say, man, like I'm not, already have it. Right. Do they say that sometimes when you call them up?
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of same response. I just say, okay, cool. How long did you get it? Right. And so I'm assuming you just filled this out because you're just looking for a little bit extra coverage, right? And like, yeah, I just, I got 7,500, 5 years ago, but it turns out inflation is getting a lot worse than I thought. So I'm going to need a little bit extra. Okay, cool. Right. So I'm always just, based upon what they tell me or their objection, right? Then that's kind of the direction I go. Like, I just make sure that if we are replacing it, that it's a smarter move. But normally like 75-80% of the time, we're not replacing it. We're just adding on. And with these leads, adding on 5,000, 10,000 of coverage, it's still going to be a pretty dang good premium, right? So I'm not really worried about the whole replacing the entire thing. And they're not either. They don't want that, right?
Now, that's perceived a lot, though. I know when I started, man, I thought my job was to replace policies. That's what I thought. I thought if they had insurance already, my job was to beat their price and get them something better.
Exactly.
That's not the fight you're fighting. All right. They just want to get more insurance. All right. I had a client last week. They go, hey, I just told this guy, I had somebody call me last week and they tried to replace my insurance. I told them I didn't want to. And they told me they couldn't help me. I said, that's weird. Why didn't they just offer you more? You know what I mean? Like, you'd be surprised on how blinded some of us are when we're in the field. Do you know what I mean? So that's big stuff, man. Key parts. All right. How are you building value? So you said, Jeff, you're adding insurance. All right. And you got clients that have limited budgets.
Yeah.
How are you? What's your average AP?
About $1,000.
$1,000.
1,200. Yeah.
Okay. Now there's folks who want to spend $80-$90 a lead to get that type of average AP. You're doing it on $10 leads. How are you doing it?
I think the value part, like you really gotta paint the picture of what this is going to do for their family, right? If it's not replacing coverage, right? And we're just adding on, like what this add-on is going to do, right? So what did you get that initial 7,500 for? Oh, I got it for burial back, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Okay, great. And do you understand how much that costs now? And if they're like, no, or they're like, yeah, that's why I'm putting the request, right? I'm like, okay, cool. So we're just looking for like an easy 7,500 again, right? Like, yeah. And I just say like, so do you understand, like, once this is put in place, right, like what this will do for your family? But if this is not put in place, how does that look like on your kids or whoever is going to be taking care of it? How does that look like on them coming out of pocket 7,500, right? And she's like, or he or she, is like, I don't want that to happen, right? So it's basically, no matter what happens, I just know that I built enough value and I painted a picture for the client of exactly what this coverage is going to do, just adding on, right? So you just want to make sure that they fully understand what it's for, because a lot of agents just say, hey, here's an extra 5,000. Hey, here's an extra 10,000 of coverage, right? Hey, this extra 7,500 is going to make sure that this is going to take care of your entire burial, right? With just that 7,500 in place, your kids are going to have to come out of pocket, right? But with this extra 7,500, right, this is going to take care of your entire burial. And if there's anything left over, well, then your kids are going to have a little bit extra, right? They're like, yeah, okay, cool. So that's like the biggest key part of just, you have to paint the picture and you have to build the value in it, or else they'll tell you no every time.
So final expense is not sold based on face amounts and how much it is.
Exactly.
It's what that benefit is going to do for the family. What will it look like if you did not have this? And have them tell you what that will look like is massive, massive. Mindset. All right. Mindset and expectations, Jacob.
Yeah. So kind of like backtracking a little bit, I think that mindset with, 65 plus, you just have to understand, like, you have to be patient. Like, you have to like get them to understand what you're saying, what you're going to do. Like, you're over the phone with everyone over 65. Sometimes they don't trust you, right? Like, you have to just be patient with them. Like, you'll probably have to repeat your, license number a couple times, but don't get pissed off at it and don't show you're pissed off. Oh, that's okay. Take your time, right? Just be patient with them. So mindset is just for real. Like, cause I've caught myself doing this as well. It's just like when they have me repeat something 3 times, or, whatever the situation is, then I get a little pissed off. But I don't technically show it, but it, like, you can hear it in my voice. Right. And, I think the mindset is just, you got to stay mellow. You got to stay understandable. And the expectations is you're going to have to go through a lot of no's before you get a yes. You're going to have to deal with a lot of slow appointments, and it always ends up with good results if you're just patient, understandable, and you're not expecting so much, right? And the biggest thing is, like, you're there to put them in a better position, right? And if you can't, then just move on, right? Because
how do you know when to move on?
So it's just like, in the first 5 minutes, really, like, if once I say, hey, grab a pen and paper, and they're like, no, I don't feel like getting up. I'm like, okay, does your phone receive text? Yeah, but I'm not going to look at it. I'm like, okay, well, you're not getting insurance. Like, for me personally, like, if they're not like responsive and they're not cooperative, and like they don't like see an interest in actually what's going on, then, like, I've learned from the past, whereas like I would just put up with it and then put it on the books, and then it fall off 2 months later, right? So if they're not like cooperative and talking back to me, and just like staying engaged in our conversation, then that's when I'm moving on. I'm saying, hey, listen, I see you're not ready for this right now. So if you got my number, so you can call me back whenever you're ready. Right. So I want to make sure that, the people that I'm helping, I'm actually helping, and they're not just, wasting my time.
But you learn that through failure. I remember, dude, I was trying to put everybody on the books. I remember when Sean Mike was like, if you're not closing, you're crazy. You know what I mean? And we'd be like, dude, I'm closing 10 out of 10. But then you'd have a 50% placement and then wonder why you ain't got no damn money. Make sense? So what you're doing is identifying who the real buyers are, who you're really going to help, and not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. And when you have enough appointments, you start at 7 a.m., your schedule's open till 9 p.m., you're not worried. You don't have to force that square peg into a round hole. Does that make sense? And I think that's the biggest thing with the mindset and expectations is know that you're going to go through them, but know that there are going to be ones that just, you're going to have to fight for them a little bit. Well, I'd say earn their trust. It's not going to be a fight. If you find yourself fighting in these appointments, hang it up. Does that make sense? Like, just hang it up. It's a wrap. It's not like, you find yourself starting at $50 and getting down to $16, hang it up. Yeah. It's a wrap. It's not going to work. Make sense? And that's where you got to be real with people and let them know that I'm here for you, not here for me. And a quote that I'll leave you with everybody, and Jacob, I want you to wrap this up. But Sean, I remember he told us this: when you're in an appointment with somebody and they feel like they're helping you more than you're helping them, first off, that's your fault because you didn't set the proper structure, right? But let them know, Jacob, if you get this today, dude, I'm not going to retire and run down the streets naked. And if you don't, I'm not going to quit and kill myself. I'm good. It's up to you whether you do this or not. And when your clients know that it's not all about them dictating your career, now they want to do more business with you. Now they're actually interested in moving forward with you. So what's one or two things, Jacob, we'll wrap this thing up, dude, what key pieces that you would give folks getting into this Facebook final expense market?
I would just say, the expectations, like, kind of going back to that, is just like I said, you'll deal with a lot of SHIT before you get to those that are like worth it, right? You'll go through, like, I've had so many, people or clients that have just, I went through the process with them, and at the end of them, like, it was like, oh my gosh, I thank you so much. Like, I didn't think I could ever get insurance, like, and like stuff like that. It just makes it all worth it, right? And even though let's just say the call was 45 minutes, like, and you just be there, you're patient, you're understanding, like, it makes it all worth it in the end. And that's kind of circles back to the entire reason why we do this, is just to put people in better situations, but also put our own families in situations. And when you're doing this for the clients and not for, your own money, then it always works out better. And that's what's been going on lately, is just putting the clients first, and it showed. So yeah, it's a dope lead. So yeah.
Right on, JB. I'm proud of you, man. How old are you, dude?
I'm 21.
21, putting up 100 G's in 3 months. Have fun, bro. You're gonna have fun on the boat, man. Congrats. And everybody else, congrats for hopping on the boat, man. Thanks for having us today.
Thank you, guys. Absolutely incredible. So many people in your situation with debt and no money would have chosen to give up, but you didn't, and I applaud you for that. I'm excited for you, man. Proud of you and happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Exciting watching what you're doing, man. Too many people, they just give up way too soon. I think the moment that people just quitting, I think is the moment that people have the opportunity to move forward. Just like Mel Robbins was talking about earlier, you know, that 5-second decision. People just quitting. I think we'll do a hell of a lot better than what they're doing today. But great job, Jacob, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. Everyone, make it a great week. We'll see you next Monday at 6 o'clock. All right, guys.
Go National. Peace out, you
Go.
guys.